right, bear with me, you guys. Bear with me. Shalom, Most High Christ bless. Just trying to get everything set up. Had some little technical difficulties. I'm gonna get started here in a few minutes. Bear with me, y'all. Alrighty, shalom, shalom, Most High Christ bless. Let me transition this real quick. All right, shalom. Good morning, everybody. Most High Christ bless. My name, I'm Officer Nahum, IUIC Raleigh. History in the AM. History in the AM. Let's see if y'all can see my title. If not, the title is from Isaac to Jacob. Okay, from Isaac to Jacob. If you watch the class. Alrighty, shalom, shalom, Most High Christ. Yeah, if you watch the let me transition this real quick. Yeah, my bad. Had the had the other information up, but yeah. Anyways, yeah. If you watched the classes before, you know I did the classes with the history with Abraham, our father Abraham, and the last time I did it was with Isaac. So now we're going into the transition of Isaac to Abraham. Lord's will, I can finish up today. You know, I'm kind of running a little behind, a few minutes behind. Let me see if I got my scribe on. Is my scribe on? Do I got a scribe? And can everybody hear me? Type in. You can type in there. Yes, I can hear you. Just want to make sure y'all can hear me. Let me say here. Yeah, type if you can hear me. Say yes, we can hear you, or no. Okay, I see. All right, I see. Sister Pamela. Okay, all praises. And Yashi and okay, Officer me that. I see him in there. Okay, all praises, all praises. All right, y'all. I'm gonna go ahead and get started here real quick. Yeah. All righty. Yep. So, all right, we're gonna start off in the book of Genesis, chapter 25. All right. Let me see here real quick. Make sure I got my live chat up just in case. All right. So who we got here scribing? Do I got a scribe today? Let me see if I got a scribe. I see somebody type yes. Okay. I see with a Sister Abigail. Okay. Shalom, sis. Most High Christ blessed to you. All right, y'all. All right, so we're going to get into it here real quick. So this is Genesis chapter 25 and verse 1, right? It says, then again, Abraham took a wife, and her name was Keturah. So, all right, so, you know, as we read before, you know, in the chapter before, well, 2 chapters before, we read about our foremother, you know, Abraham's first wife. I'm over here, I'm just getting up, y'all. Sarah, right? You know, so I'm thinking about Rachel for some reason. I don't know why, but you know, our foremother Sarah, she had passed away, right? She died, and then we also read about our forefather Isaac. He got married in chapter 24, and Sarah died in chapter 23. So now we're in chapter 25. Now we're reading about our father Abraham. He, you know, is giving me like a backlog. You know what I'm saying, to kind of catch up to speed. And now it's going into, you know, with Abraham, he took another wife. He got remarried. You know what I'm saying. But you know, this wife considered a concubine. We'll read up about that because that wasn't, She wasn't Sarah, his initial wife. All right. Then again, Abraham took a wife, and her name was Keturah, and she bare him Zimran and Jokshan and Medan and Midian and Ishbak and Shua. So now he got some more sons, right? Now he's gonna go into those sons, their sons, right? So remember our forefather Abraham. He's gonna be our father in many nations, right? So as we're getting into it, it says in Jokshan. So we're gonna go into him. Begot Sheba and Dedan, and the sons of Dedan were Shuram and Letshuam and Leumim. Okay, so and verse 4 says, and the sons of Median, Ephah and Epher and Hanok and Adiba and Eldah. All these were the children of Keturah. So these were Keturah's sons right here, right? And these were our nations today, who we know today. So I'm gonna touch on that. Let's go to the book of Isaiah, chapter 21 and verse 3, real quick. Isaiah chapter 21 and verse 3. It says, therefore, let me see, 21. Yeah. Make sure I'm in the right chapter real quick. I'm sorry, Isaiah 21 and 13, not 3. All right, it says, the burden upon Arabia and the forest and Arabia shall ye lodge, O ye traveling companies of Dedanim, okay? So let you know, these sons in them, right? So, of course, one of the sons that we just read here, Dedan, that we read in verse 3, in chapter 25, verse 3, let you know he's going to be, today he'll be considered a part of the Arab nation, you know what I'm saying, the Arabs. He'll be on that side. He'll be living in the desert. So all of them, like most of them Arabians in them, a lot of them are from Dedan or Dedan. Okay. So I'm gonna go back and read verse 4 in chapter 25. And the sons of Median, Ephah and Epher, and Hanok and Abida and Eldah, and it says all these were the children of Keturah, right? So these are Keturah's sons right here, right? And verse 5 right here says, and Abraham gave all that he had unto Isaac, right? So he gave everything to our forefather Isaac, right? Verse 6, it says, but unto the sons of the concubines which Abraham had, Abraham gave gifts and sent them away from Isaac, his son. Hear that, right? He said he sent them away from Isaac, his son. Remember, this is his only begotten son, okay? He said, while he yet lived eastward into the east country, okay? All right, so we're going to do this right here. We're going to precept verse 5 real quick. We're going to go to chapter 24 and verse 36. So let's see what the servant said. This Genesis chapter 24, verse 36. And Sarah, my master's wife, bare a son to my master when she was old, and unto him had he given all that he had, right? So he gave everything to Isaac, you know what I'm saying? And, and just to let you know, he had Ishmael too. Ishmael was his son as well, but it wasn't his only begotten son. You know what I'm saying? Remember a few chapters back, he was getting ready to sacrifice Isaac, right? But, you know what I'm saying, he told, the Most High told him, hey, that's your only son. You was willing to do that. But remember, he told him, to take your son, thy only son, because that's the son that was promised to him. Okay? All right, so I'm going to go back here to where we left off at, and I'll just read verse 6 again. It says, but unto the sons of the concubines which Abraham had, Abraham gave gifts and sent them away from Isaac his son, while he yet lived eastward unto the east country. Okay, so that's where he sent them. All right, and these are the days of the years of Abraham's life, which he lived, 160 years. So let you know, our forefather Abraham, he lived 175 years. Okay, so he lived a good long time, right? So verse 8, then Abraham gave up the ghost and died. So this is he lived, he gave up the ghost, he passed away, and at good old age and an old man and full of years, and was gathered to his people. Okay, so now our forefather, he passed away. You know what I'm saying? I'll give you a little precept here for that. What is it here, real quick? So he died in a good old age. Let's go to my eyes are bad this morning. Let's go to Genesis chapter 15 and verse. I think it's 15 or 15. Yeah. Let's go to Genesis chapter 15 and verse 15 real quick. All right. Yeah, so Genesis chapter 15, and actually we'll jump up real quick. We'll start at verse 13 to get to the point, just to make it make sense. And he said unto Abraham, know of surety that thy seed shall be a stranger in the land that is not theirs, and shall serve them, and they shall afflict them 400 years. So he's giving Abraham a vision right here, the Most High, okay? And he says in verse 14, and also that nation whom they shall serve will I judge, and afterward they shall come out with great substance, right? So this is us going into Egypt, okay? Verse 15, and thou shalt go to thy fathers in peace. Thou shalt be buried in a good old age. So to let you know, he was he was when he died, he said, hey, you're gonna live a long time. You know, this is what he was prophesying to him, and letting him know what was going to take place. So we'll go back to Genesis 25 and 8, right? All right, it says, then Abraham gave up the ghost and died in a good old age, and an old man and full of years, and was gathered to his people. Okay, so just keep that in mind. Abraham was 175 years old. Okay, I'm gonna touch back on that. All right. So verse 9, and his sons Isaac and Ishmael buried him in the cave of Mishpalah in the field of Ephron, the son of Zohar the Hittite, which is before Mamre. Right. So remember that same field. It'll touch on that in verse 10 here. Verse 10. The field which Abraham purchased of the sons of Heth, there was Abraham buried, and Sarah his wife. So you remember he bought that field from the son of Heth, and he got that for a burial plot. It was a plot of land there. Remember he made the deal. He bought the land for with money, with currency at that time, and he said this one gonna bury my wife. You know what I'm saying? And so he made that purchase and deal and everything in front of all the people there in the land, amongst all those Canaanites and Hittites and stuff. So, just keep that in mind. Say, and his sons Isaac and Ishmael buried him, right? So both his sons came up there to bury him. It didn't mention the other sons, you know what I'm saying? I don't know, they could have been there, but it mentioned these two particular sons that they came up, you know what I'm saying, and buried Abraham, Okay, verse 11. And it came to pass, the death of Abraham, that God blessed his son Isaac. And Isaac dwelt by the well of Lahorar. Okay, so now he dwelt by that well, right? So you gotta remember. Let me see something real quick. Bear with me real quick. All right. So let me get a little map here real quick. With Abraham, I think I saved it in here. Hope I didn't. Let me see. Let me go here to Bible Maps. Then I'm gonna transition this real quick. I know it's kind of little. Actually, not this map. Bear with me, y'all. Okay, here you go, right here. All right, so I'm gonna transition this. All right, so this is the journey of Abraham, right? As y'all can see, right? I believe it's in this map here. And that place where he's at is I don't know if you can see it on here. Maybe not on this one, but I might have. All right, bear with me, y'all. Let me see here. I put a lot of different things. The journey of Abraham, Jacob's journey. Let's see if it's on this one. I'm looking at it because it's real small on my side. But so that there'll be like an area called, I'm gonna say in that section, like with Bethlehem and Shechem or whatever. In that area there, that's where that well was at. It was if you have your map, you'll see like a Bear La Shahar or something like that. It's basically the same well where we read about. Let me see here real quick. If we let's go to chapter 16 and verse 14 to explain it. All right. So I'm just showing you that map right there. Then we go to chapter 16 and verse 14. I forgot I took the map off to make some space. 16 to 14. All right. It says this Genesis chapter 16 verse 14. It says, "Wherefore the well was called Beer Lahar. Behold, it is between Kadesh and Bered." Right. So it's giving us this location. So this is the place where where Ishmael's mother, you know what I'm saying, when she had left, remember she had left, she was upset. I think Sarah was putting hands on her. She was upset with her, so she tried to run away, and she went to the well, and that well area, where she had went to, that's the place where it's called Beer Lahora or whatever. So that's where Isaac, where he dwelt at. Okay, that's where he was staying at. All right, and I believe matter of fact, and I'm getting to collect my thoughts here real quick. We go back to let's go back to Genesis 24 and let's start at verse 61. Okay, all right. It says, "And Rebekah arose and her damsels, and they rode upon the camels and followed the man. And the servants took Rebekah and went his way." So this is when Rebekah got when she first met Isaac. Okay, when she came from her home place. And verse 62, "And Isaac came from the way of the well of Lahora, for he dwelt in the south country." Okay, so to let you know, that's where Isaac, where he was staying at that particular time. So he stayed there. If y'all, just wanted to give y'all like a little vision, to give y'all a little map or something. I didn't want y'all to see me the whole time. That way you don't get bored. You be like, okay. But go back here real quick. Transition this. All right, so I'm back here. All right. So now I'm gonna go back to where we left off at. So Genesis 25 and verse 11. All right. It said, "And it came to pass after the death of Abraham that God blessed his son Isaac, and Isaac dwelt by the well of Lahora." All right. Now these are the generations of Ishmael, Abraham's son, whom Hagar the Egyptian, Sarah's handmaid, bare unto Abraham. Okay. So, and these are the names of the sons of Ishmael, by their names according to their generations. The firstborn of Ishmael is Nebajah, and Kedar, and Adbeel, and Mibsam, and Mishma, and Duma, and Massa, right? So we're going to let's go to Ecclesiastes 4 and 4 real quick in the Bible. Ecclesiastes 4 and 4. Let me get to it. All right, so Ecclesiastes chapter 4, verse 4. Well, actually, hold on. I'm jumping ahead real quick. I went to the wrong chapter. Bear with me, y'all. Yeah, it be happening. I'm looking down. I got on my notes. Now, we're not going to go there right yet. We'll go there on the next chapter. Where I left off at. Okay. Genesis. Let me go. All right. Bear with me, y'all. Let's see here. I'm looking down. Looking too far down instead of looking up. It's early in the morning. All right. Okay, Genesis. Let me go back to chapter. I did that. Okay. All right. So I'm going to read on down. This Genesis 25 and verse 13. "And these are the names of the sons of Ishmael by their names according to their generations. And the firstborn of Ishmael is Nebajoth and Kedar and Abdiel and Mibsam." So now you always hear about like the tents of Kedar, that means it was dark, because Ishmael was dark skinned too, just like our forefathers. All right, he was a dark skinned nation. Right now you see some of the Arabs, most of the Arabs are dark skinned, but you see some of them are light skinned, that come from many wars and mixing and stuff like that of of the other nations. Okay, like during the time of the Greeks and the Romans and all that, and then you know. Esau and all that stuff, getting involved. All right, so verse 15, it says Hadar and Timad and Jetar, Nephish and Kedemah said, these are the sons of Ishmael, and these are their names by their towns and by their castles. 12 princes according to their nation, right? So we'll jump back to let's go back to Genesis 17 and 20. Just giving y'all a brief like history summary. Just to show you, the prophecy. So remember Ishmael, it said he had 12 sons, right? So we go to Genesis, what we go to? Genesis, what is it? 17 and 20. All right. Genesis chapter 17 and verse 20. He says, and as for Ishmael, I have heard thee. Behold, I have blessed him and will make him fruitful and will multiply him exceedingly. 12 princes shall he beget, and I will make him a great nation. So I'm going to make him a great nation because he came from your loins, Abraham, you know what I'm saying? So I'm going to bless him too. I know he your son, he's that was your first son. But verse 21 it makes the point. It said, but my covenant will I establish with Isaac, which Sarah shall bear unto thee at this set time in the next year. Okay? So he's letting them know, this son here, this is the special son here. This is what I'm going to be dealing with. I'm going to make my covenant, everything going to go down through his lineage. Okay? So just letting you know I'm dealing with Isaac. You know what I'm saying? I know that's your other son, but, I got businesses for him. He's going to play a part in history, okay? Yeah, you're going to be a father of many nations, and this is one of the nations. You know what I'm saying? This nation here will be, they're going to multiply and be big on the earth, too. They're going to have a part to play. All right, so now we go down here to keep on reading. This Genesis chapter 25 and verse 17. And these are the years of the life of Ishmael, 137 years. So he lived 137 years, okay? And he gave up the ghost and died and was gathered unto his people. So, when they passed away, he died, his family, his sons, 12 sons of them, and all of them came and they buried Ishmael, okay? Now we go to verse 18. And they dwelt from Havilah unto Shur, that is before Egypt, as thou goest toward Assyria, and he died in the presence of all his brethren. So let me get that right quick. Just give you all right, this is another little map here, right here. This is a map. I just did a little portion of it. This is, it show you what circle here in red. This is the desert of Shur. Remember, it's right before Egypt, so it's pretty much east of what do you call it? Actually, you would call it today like the Sinai area. So that desert area that they call it is like a wilderness, and that's where Ishmael had dwelt at during that particular time. Okay, so now Ishmael is he's in that area with the Arabs and all that and stuff too as well. So they dwell in the desert. As far as those other sons of Keturah and all of them is in the same vicinity, just to let y'all know. They're like desert nomads and stuff, or the Arab, United Arab, what do you call them, Qatar, Kuwait, all them, what they call the royal family there, they got all that oil and stuff. That's Ishmael and Keturah's and them sons, they all in that same area, okay? Just to get y'all up to speed, go transition it back. Alrighty. So now we go into here, verse 21 right here. Okay, where I leave off at? Okay, 18. All right, it says, verse 18, and they dwelt from Havilah and Shur, that is before Egypt, as thou goest toward Assyria, and he died in the presence of all his brethren. So that's where he died at and was buried. And these are the generations of Isaac, Abraham's son. Abraham begot Isaac, okay? And Isaac was 40 years old when he took Rebekah to wife, the daughter of Bethuel, the Syrian of Padanaram, the sister to Laban, the Syrian. So just let you know that's who Rebekah is. Rebekah's brother is Laban, you know what I'm saying? So that's Rachel's father, okay, is Laban. All right, so that's, to get y'all up to speed. All right, verse 21. And Isaac entreated the Lord for his wife because she was barren, right? And the Lord was entreated of him, and Rebekah, his wife, conceived. So, I know, like, I know I was looking at that word entreated. I had to look it up. We always see the word entreat, but you see the word entreated. That's like, past tense. It's something past tense. When you look it up, that means he went earnestly. He prayed constantly. He did a constant prayer about his wife, because his wife was barren. She couldn't have children. So you look that word entreated up. I forgot to put it in my notes here, but I mean. But I do know what it means. It means that he always constantly prayed earnestly of that to have children, because his wife was barren. Okay, all right. Verse 22, and the children struggled together within her, and she said, "If it be so, why am I thus?" Right. So basically, she's like, okay, the kids in here, they struggling in here, right? They're in the womb, you know. It's like a little complication. I'm showing you a little picture here, right here. You got our forefather, got our forefather here and there struggling with his brother here inside the womb. You see the water and all that stuff there in the stomach. So she's wondering, like, this supposed to be a blessing. Why am I having these complications? Why these babies tussle in my womb? You know what I'm saying? I guess for y'all sisters who are who done had babies, or you pregnant, you understand what's taking place in this part right here. Okay, so that's what's going on there. So I'm gonna finish reading that again. All right, and verse 22, verse 21. Isaac entreated the Lord for his wife because she was barren, and the Lord was entreated of him, and Rebekah his wife conceived. It says, and the children, right, is letting us know we got twins, right? And the children struggled together within her, and she said, "If it be so, why am I this? If this is a blessing, why am I having these complications?" And she went to inquire of the Lord, so she went to go pray, right? Verse 23, and the Lord said unto her, 2 nations are in thy womb. That 2 nations, right? So let's touch on this real quick. So we got 2 nations. Let's go to Genesis 17 and 16, just go back to what the Most High told, what he told, actually we're gonna go to verse 5, 17 and 5, right? So this is when Abraham's name was changed from Abram to Abraham. All right, Genesis 17 and 5, neither shall thy name anymore be called Abram, but thy name shall be Abraham, for a father of many nations have I made thee. So now we hear about more nations, right? We heard about the sons of Keturah. We already know about Ishmael and Ishmael's family. We know about our forefather Isaac. So our forefather Isaac, now he's about to have two nations there. Then we read about the sons of Keturah, right? Those are other nations, that come up off our forefather Abraham, right? So now we jump to verse in the same chapter. This Genesis 17 and verse 15. Okay, so and God said unto Abraham, as for Sarah thy wife, thou shalt not call her name Sarai, but Sarah shall her name be. Verse 16, and I will bless her and give thee a son also of her. Yea, I will bless her, and she shall be a mother of nations. Kings of people shall be of her. Okay, so to let you know, I just want to touch on that to show you, to correlate to what we just read in Genesis chapter 25 and verse 23, right? So we'll go back to that. Genesis 25, 23, and the Lord said unto her, 2 nations are in thy womb, okay? And 2 manner of people shall be separated from thy bowels. So let her know she's going to have twins, right? I know I'm kind of giving it away, showing the picture, but, most of y'all should know, if you follow along in the history in the AM. And the one people shall be stronger than the other people, right? And the elder shall serve the younger, right? So now it's giving us some history here, right? In verse 23, right? So letting us know that older child is going to serve the younger, right? This is a future prophecy that's going to take place, right? So now we got to find out what order, how were they born, So now we go to verse 24. And when her days to be delivered were fulfilled, behold, there were twins in her womb. Okay, meaning letting us know these twins, they all different. All got different manner, two different manner of people, and their ways is different. So let you know these are not identical twins. These are gonna be fraternal, right? As we read on. All right. So and the first came out red all over like in hairy garments. So that's where you see the one with the red hair. He pale. He say red all over. That's what we call Esau. Esau is red. Okay. And they called his name Esau. Okay. Esau means, it means wasted away he is. Okay. That means because he has no melanin in him. Verse 26. And after that came his brother out, and his hand took hold on Esau's heel. So that part there, that's very important. So his hand took hold on Esau's heel, right? So let's go in the Apocrypha. We're going to go get 2nd Ezra chapter 6 and verse 7 real quick. 2nd Ezra 6, just to get you up to speed real quick. I know I still got the picture up. I just want y'all to see the visual. 2nd Ezra chapter 6 and verse 7. It says, Then answered I and said, what will be the pardon asunder of times? So what's going to take place in the future? This is what our forefather Ezra was saying, okay? Or when shall be the end of the first and the beginning of it that followeth? He's wondering, like, when is this going to take place, right? So now the angel, this is the angel telling him, says, and he said unto me, from Abraham unto Isaac, when Jacob and Esau were born of him, Jacob's hand held first the heel of Esau. So you remember how they was touching on that, right? How Jacob came out last, right? So let you know, Esau came out first. The elder gonna serve the younger. So verse 9 says, for Esau is the end of the world. So right now we living in the world of Esau, right? So that's why you see, you got what Donald Trump, you got Putin, all of them, what I'm saying? They all, all of them is the main rulers, what I'm saying? The NATO, the 10 common markets, all that stuff, all of them is running everything. So, right. So, and it said, and all of them are Caucasian, nations, what I'm saying? So verse 9, for Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. Okay. So to let you know, Jacob is the next world to rule, what I'm saying? That's the kingdom to come when Christ come back, okay? We're going to get the kingdom, what I'm saying? We'll take the kingdom. Verse 10, right? It says, the hand of man is between the heel and the hand. Other question Ezra's asked thou not, right? So that part there where it says the hand of man, those are the other nations. So like when we read about, let's say this, for example, just to shorten up time, when you see Nebuchadnezzar's dream, right? How he talk about, remember he was the head, and then you had Persian and Mede came, and then you had the Greeks, then you had the Romans, so on and so forth, what I'm saying? Then of course the feet is going into the 10, that's the 10 horns that you read about in Revelations, okay? 10 horns, 10 toes is the same thing, all right? And that nation, what I'm saying, it's like miry clay and iron mixed. So, but to let you know, those kingdoms had to rule first. They had to rule and have their place of time to rule. So that's the hand in between with the verse 10. 2nd Ezra 6 and 10 says the hand of man is between the heel and the hand of So that's what that's going into. They had to have their time to rule. All right. So let me see here real quick. All righty. Let me jump into this real quick so I can. I might have to. All right. So this is go back to Genesis chapter 25 and verse 26. And after that came his brother out, and his hand took hold on Esau's heel, and his name was called Jacob. And Isaac was 80 years old when she bare them. Okay, so just remember that right there. So Isaac, he was what, 60 years old, right? He was 60 years old. So you got to remember when he married, when you jump up above, right? Just to, give you some stuff. I know a lot of us read this and we let some things, slip past our mind, right? And so we jump to verse 20. It says, and Isaac was 40 years old when he took Rebekah to wife, right? So, from that point on, he probably was trying to have kids. You get married, you got to consecrate the marriage. So now now she got pregnant. So she got pregnant when probably he's about maybe 59 or something like that. Let's just say that. What I'm saying, because when the kids were born, he was 60 years old, so like a 9-month time frame. So he was in that age frame. He was in that age group, 59, 60 or whatever. So, but when the kids were born, he was 60 years old, right? So just to get you up to speed real quick. So you remember I mentioned something here about, let's jump back into Genesis 25 and verse 7. It says, and these are the days, the years of Abraham's life, which he lived 160 years, right? So just to, I threw a little hint at you real quick. So, because you got to remember, Abraham is what? He's 100 years old. He's 100 years older than Isaac, his son. Remember, he was 100 years old when he had Isaac, right? So when Isaac got married, you know what I'm saying? When he married Rebecca, he was 40 years old, right? He took her to wife. So Abraham was 140 years old, right? So now the question is this, right? Did Jacob and Esau, did they ever get to meet Isaac? Did they ever get to meet Abraham? That's a question. Let me see if y'all paying attention to your math. This is a math problem right here. Like, remember in math class, the teacher, let's see if y'all right in here. Say yes or no. Did they ever get to meet? Did they ever get to meet their grandfather or their uncle Ishmael? Let me see if y'all in there. Type in there if you can type. I know some of y'all might be at work or whatever. And those who can type in there. Yes, they did meet, or no, they didn't meet. Let me see real quick. Hope I'm still online. Let me transition this back. So did they, did they get to meet? Let me know. So the volume's too low. Can y'all hear me now? Is the volume low? Is it high? Let me know. Hold on for a minute. Okay, I see somebody typing that lava. Okay, all right. Let me see something real quick. What the heck? Okay. All right, so the math problem is, let's see here real quick. The math problem is, all right, so I'm going to do the math problem again. So remember Abraham and Isaac, right? So Abraham's 100 years older than Isaac, okay? All right, so the volume is good, okay. So you got Abraham and Isaac. All right, so think about it. All right, so how old is how many years older is Abraham? Well, actually, put it this way: Abraham died right at 175 years old. So when Isaac got married at 40 years old, right? So he was so at that time, Abraham was 140 years old, correct? Let me see here. Let me see. All right. I think I was low. I might have been too far away from the mic, but yeah. So it said then Abraham gave up the ghost and died in a good old age, an old man and full of years, and was gathered to his people. Okay, so now when the children were born, right? So Isaac was 100 and what? 100. Not Isaac. Abraham was 160 years old because Isaac was what? 60 years old. Correct? Y'all getting that, right? Just type in there, say yes or no or what. All right, so all right, for the sake of time, let me just get to it. All right, so yeah, look at it. So let me see what y'all typing in here. All right, okay, so just to make just for the time's sake. All right, so Isaac, right? So when Isaac had Jacob and Esau, he was 60 years old, right, when they were born. So, but you gotta remember, he's 100 years younger than his father. So I mean, his father was 160 years old when Jacob and Esau was born. Okay, all right. So when Jacob and Esau was born, you know, when Abraham died, so Jacob and Esau got 15 years of their life. So they lived 15 years until Abraham died. So they did get to live and meet and speak with their grandfather Abraham. Okay, for those who didn't know. All right, that's the math problem right there. And also, so yeah, remember when Abraham died, the both sons were 15 years old. Yeah, remember. I'll jump up here real quick. So when he died, he gathered to his people. So we'll jump to, let me see here. Where is it at here? Because I get mixed up with my other Bible. All right. Okay, this Genesis 25, verse 7. And these are the days of the years of Abraham's life, which he lived 175 years. And said, then Abraham gave up the ghost and died in a good old age and an old man and full of years and was gathered to his people. He said, and his sons Isaac and Ishmael buried him in the cave, right, of Meshpelah, in the field of Ephraim in Zohar, right? So that's where, when he ended up, once he died, they came out there and they came to bury him. Of course, they was young. They were 15 years old, so they also got to meet Ishmael as well. You know what I'm saying? Just for those who didn't know. All right. Let's see here real quick. So now, let me. But there's another precept here too. I'm gonna go to Hebrews real quick. I'm gonna find it. Let's go to Hebrews chapter 11 real quick, y'all. Go there if you can. All right, let me get it up here real quick. Hebrews chapter 11, and let's see here. Bear with me. Let me see here. I know I forgot to add this in my notes. Okay. All right. This is Hebrews chapter 11 and verse 8. All right. I'm going to start at 8. And all right, it says, by faith, Abraham, when he was called to go out unto a place which he should after receive for an inheritance, obeyed. And he went out not knowing whither he went. Verse 9 is the point. By faith, he sojourned in the land of promise, as in a strange country, dwelling in tabernacles with Isaac and Jacob, the heirs with him of the same promise. So that's another precept that he lived during the same time, that he got to meet them, and they, they got to fellowship with their grandfather. All right. Okay, so now we get to the point here. Let's get on down here real quick. I just wanted to bring that little math problem out. This is the best with y'all. All right. Let's see here real quick. All right. It says, and Jacob, let me see here. This is verse, jump back, it'll be verse 24. No, verse 26. And after that came his brother out, and his hand took hold on Esau's heel, and his name was called Jacob. And Isaac was 80 years old when she bare them, right? So remember, the verse above, it lets you know that both sons were going to be different, okay? So we know the first one came out red all over like a hairy garment. He was hairy, he had red hair, he was light, he was Esau, Caucasian white, meaning he was albino, we would say it like that. And cause we can have albino children, you know what I'm saying? If Esau have an albino child, it's hard to tell, you know what I'm saying, when they kid come out so-called albino, meaning their kids will come out with white hair and all that. But when we have an albino that child hair come out either white or the hair come out white or reddish, kind of like that, but they have no melanin in their skin. So and they look just like it's the same thing, just like Esau, because cause Esau ain't got no melanin in his skin. Okay, so now we seen the description of one child, but you notice in in that verse right there, right, in verse 26, and after that came his brother out, meaning Jacob, right, and his hand took hold on Esau's heel, and his name was called Jacob, right. Then it jumps to the age of Isaac, and you notice they don't describe Jacob. Why? Because he looked like everybody else that was born on the earth, meaning he had melanin on him. There was nothing different to describe of him. Okay, it showed the significance of who came out first and who came out last, and who took hold on whose heel, because of those are prophecies, what we just read about in Second Ezra 6 and 7, and also what Rebecca was told, what I'm saying, in verse 23 about the two nations, and the one child going to be stronger than her. What it says, the elder shall serve the younger. So that's what I was going into. Okay, so let me transition this back. All right, so y'all can see me now. We'll go to. Let me get another picture here real quick. Bear with me, y'all. I want y'all to see everything. All right, so now we get to the next one right here. Transition this. So this is Jacob and Esau. This is a picture, right? Just to show y'all right here how Jacob would possibly look and how Esau looked, and we drew him today for what we know. All right. Now, verse 27 said, "And the boys grew, right? And Esau was a cunning hunter," right? So it's letting us know Esau, he was a cunning hunter and man of the field, right? And Jacob was a plain man dwelling in tents. So I gave that picture there, so you see, get a little depiction of how how the men look. You know what I'm saying? How our forefather Jacob, he was a plain man, he was a regular man. He he was like a pure man. That's what that regular man means. He was normal. The other one, he was a cunning hunter, right? So let's get some photos on that real quick. Bear with me there. Where you at there? All right. Okay. So we got cunning hunter. So think about it. So this man here, he was a cunning hunter, right? So he liked to go out there and hunt deer and collect antlers, or they kill the animal and take their head and leave the rest of the body and stuff like that. That's Esau. They like to go out in the field and hunt. You know what I'm saying? That's that cunning hunter right there. Boom. He a man of the field. He go out there, you see that deer in the distance. He go out there and shoot and hunt. You know what I'm saying? Like to kill stuff. So that's what that one child was right there, right? So it said, and the boys grew, and Esau was a cunning hunter and man of the field, and Jacob was a plain man dwelling in tents. So Jacob, he liked to chill. You know what I'm saying? He liked to relax and stuff. Chill in the crib, right? To give you that analogy, you know what I'm saying, of both of their mannerism and what's the difference between them. It says, verse 28, and Isaac loved Esau because he did eat of his venison, right? But Rebekah loved Jacob. So it's letting you know Esau, he liked to go hunting. He hunt and he catch a lot of stuff. And, venison is going into like beef or deer, you know what I'm saying? Whatever he was hunting for game, what was clean. So he'll go say, hey, I want some deer meat, or I want some maybe a wild goat or ram or something like that. He'll go hunt that thing and bring it back, you know what I'm saying? And, he'll cook that thing or whatever. And that's what, his father liked it that, he'd go out there and hunt, fish, you name it. Some of us like to hunt and fish too, but we don't do it to the point as where you'll see us walking around. We got rifles in the back of our pickup truck. We just killing animals for sport and stuff like that. That's not in our nature to do that. Okay, but Esau does that. So that's why I put that picture up there to give y'all a vision, because you see them. You know what I'm saying? They like going to Bass and Pro Calebas or whatever. I forgot how you pronounce it. Dick's Sporting Good and all that. They into all that. They get the scope. We're gonna get this meat here and all this or whatever. They like to eat bear and all that stuff, unclean stuff. All right. Okay, so let me get on to this real quick. 26 and no, yeah, 20. We still in 20. Yeah, verse 26. No, I'm sorry. Verse 27. It said, and the boys grew, and Esau was a cunning hunter and man of the field, and Jacob was a plain man dwelling in tents. And Isaac loved Esau because he did eat of his venison, but Rebekah loved Jacob. So, you know what I'm saying? Jacob was, like a mama's boy, right? So, just letting you know that, you know what I'm saying? Giving you that thing there about the sons and them, right? So, bear with me. I'll pull this up here. Okay. And transition this back right there. Okay. And, okay. Verse 29 right here. The Genesis 25 and 29. And Jacob sowed pottage, and Esau came from the field and was faint. So now Esau coming back from hunting. He coming from the field. He faint. He tired. You know what I'm saying? So, Jacob was cooking. He at the crib. He like to chill the crib. He getting some recipes. That's what we like to do. We like to cook on the grill, smoke something or whatever it is. We like to cook, Verse 30. And Esau said to Jacob, feed me, I pray thee, with that same red pottage, for I am faint. Therefore was his name called Edom. Okay? So this is like a little note. And Edom in Hebrew means red. Okay? The red people. Okay? That's what that's going into. This is when he first got the nickname Red, okay? Why? Because he, that red pottage, right? You see that in the pot. There was meat in there, you know what I'm saying? There was meat he had up in there, and that thing was red, right? So just to prove, let's go to Hebrews 12 real quick, just to show you. Some people think, they just had lentils and stuff like that. But let's go to Hebrews chapter 12. And we're going to read verse 16 just to show proof. So in case you out there and, you have to edify somebody, and they talking about, well, he ate lentils, he ate beans. Yeah, but it had, he had meat, right? So this is 12 and 16. No, not 16. This is 12 and, what is it? Yeah, 12 and 16. So lest there be any fornicator or profane person as Esau, who for one morsel of meat sold his birthright. For one morsel of meat. Let you know he took that red meat. That meat wasn't done yet. It wasn't cooked. So this that's another attribute of Esau, okay? So let's say this right here. I'm going to give you this picture right here. So, when you go to I know some of y'all, you may go to work and you see your coworker, you see Esau, he like to eat his meat with blood in it, rare. You know what I'm saying? That thing be like purple blue, you know what I'm saying? All the blood and stuff still in there. They be blood running from the, he carved his knife into the meat, and that's just how he like to eat his meat, you know what I'm saying? We want our meat well done, you know what I'm saying? We cook that thing. If you see a brother, Northern Kingdom or Southern Kingdom of Israel, and he eating his meat raw, because he been around Esau, or he want to mimic his forefather. I mean, not his forefather. He want to mimic his master. Okay, so I'm gonna try this because they do it. I ain't gonna lie, I had tried it before too. You seen it, but how I was brought up and grown up around my parents, my dad, we thought we was Judah, but I knew there was some Gad in there, but I'm from the tribe of Gad. But, what I'm saying, we cook our food well done. My mom is from the tribe of Benjamin. Same thing with her. They cook the meat well done. All right. Then I tried that, as I got older in the world, but my parents, they wouldn't eat that stuff. They cook their meat well done, and that's how I eat my meat, we keep the laws of God, Yeah, also, let me give you this other picture, right? Yeah, this the picture here. You see them jokers doing now. You know what I'm saying? See that right there? That joker tearing that meat up raw. That thing ain't even cooked. Straight out of the pack. Cause you got to think about it. When Esau get his meat, he don't rinse and wash his meat off. We go get our meat and rinse it off. Kind of scrub, like especially chicken. We scrub that thing off with a little knife or something. Scrape it we run it with the water. But our steak, we also run water. We run water through all our meat. Fish, him, he don't do that. He take it straight out the pack and throw it on the pan. Sear it on both sides, you know what I'm saying? And he tear it up. See, somebody put in there said, I have too. Somebody put in there said they didn't have their stuff medium rare and all that. Yeah, it happened, you know what I'm saying? We didn't know no better, we thought, when we didn't know the laws, we thought we was trying to be like, trying to be like a slave master. You see them do it and you just try it. That's how we end up eating some crazy, we call it crazy meat and stuff. You may travel somewhere. You got some people that they done ate camel. What I'm saying, that went to the Middle East. I never ate it, but if I ain't gonna lie, if I was when I was in the world, I would have tried it. You know what I'm saying? Because I didn't know. I thought you could eat it. Hey, we was eating pork and all that other stuff. So, but all praises. What I'm saying, I found the truth when I had the opportunity to try it. So I knew not to eat it. All right, can y'all hear me now? Is it still low? The volume is still low. All right, hold up one second. Bear with me, y'all. Yeah, it's nasty. It's nasty. It's gross. That's what our slave master. That's how he like to eat his meat. Okay, so let me get back. What's this? Okay. All right, y'all. I'm transitioning back. All right. So now we got that bloody meat thing. So that's what that red pottage was. Okay. I'm gonna read that again. Verse 30. Genesis 25 and 30. And Esau said to Jacob, feed me, I pray thee, with that same red pottage, right? Because that meat, it wasn't done yet. Okay, for I am faint, therefore was his name called Edom. And Jacob said, sell me this day thy birthright. You sell me your birthright. You the oldest son. Let me get that birthright. Verse 32. And Esau said, behold, I am at the point to die. And what profit shall this birthright do to me? He's like, hey, what is this birthright? He didn't even care about it. He said, man, what is this going to do? You know what I'm saying? Go and give me that food, man. He said, the hell with that. And Jacob said, swear to me this day. And he swore unto him, and he sold his birthright unto Jacob. Okay? He sold that thing. All right? That sounds like I got lower. All right. All right, do I sound better now? I had to turn my mic off. How do I sound now, y'all? Yeah. All right. Okay, let me all right, so verse 34, it says, Then Jacob gave Esau bread and pottage of lentils, and he did eat and drink, and rose up and went his way. Thus Esau despised his birthright. Right, so he gave him bread, and he had sides with it. He had pottage and lentils also to go with that same red meat. He want to eat his meat raw, then that's what you're gonna do, and give up your birthright. That's that, right? So now he upset. You know what I'm saying? So he gave up his birthright. He did that thing, right? So now we're gonna get into, what time is it? 6:14. All right, so we're gonna get into chapter 26 real quick. All right, so this is Genesis chapter 26. It says, and there was a famine in the land beside the first famine that was in the days of Abraham, right? And Isaac went unto Abimelech, king of the Philistines in Gerar, right? So let's get this real quick. Bear with me. Let me get a little map for y'all again. All right, y'all. Okay, so I'm transitioning this. I'm putting it back onto another map. So as y'all can see here, so now so there was like a famine in the land, and I put on the wrong map. Bear with me. I put on the wrong map. Okay. All right, there we go. All right, okay. I put on the right map this time. Bear with me, y'all. All right, so if you can look down there, and you'll see, where it says Beersheba, Haran. You see that? You see on the south. So if y'all look at the let me see here, where we at, Genesis 26. Let me make sure. All right. I'm supposed to show them. Let me see something. Genesis 26. All right. All right. Genesis 26 says there was a famine in the land beside the first famine that was in the. Supposed to show them. Let me see. All right. Famine. And Isaac went unto Abimelech, king of the Philistines, unto Gerar. Right. So, all right. So maybe I have to go back to that map. I might have took that map off by accident. So let me just transition back to where we were. My apologies, y'all. Yeah, I was moving around. I got a lot of stuff, a lot of pictures I want to show y'all to get y'all, get you up to speed. And get back to the scene. All right. So, all right. So now letting our forefather, he was up there chilling in the area where the Philistines are at. Okay. All right. So, and the Lord appeared unto him and said, "Go not down into Egypt, dwell in the land which I shall tell thee of." Right. So sojourn in this land, and I will be with thee, and I will bless thee. For unto thee and unto thy seed I will give all these countries, and I will perform the oath which I swear unto Abraham thy fathers. Right. So in verse 3, he's letting him know. I'm saying, I want you to, listen to what I'm gonna tell you. I want you to go here. Don't go down into Egypt. I want you to stay up, and I want you to travel up to the area where the Philistines, where they dwell at. Okay. Let me go. This is the oath that he was talking about. We're gonna go to Genesis chapter 20, area where the Philistines, where they dwell at. Okay. Let me go. This is the oath that he was talking about. We're gonna go to Genesis chapter 22. All right, y'all. I'm back. Okay. I don't know what happened. I got disconnected, but so I'm back again. It might be just the internet, or it could be cloudy or something outside. All right. I'm gonna go back and read Genesis 22 and verse 16. And said, "By myself have I sworn, said the Lord, for because thou hast done this thing and hast not withheld thy son, thine only son, that in blessing I will bless thee, and in multiplying I will multiply thy seed as the stars of the heaven, and as the sand which is upon the seashore. And thy seed shall possess the gate of his enemies." Okay? And he says, verse 18, and thy seed shall all the nations of the earth be blessed, because thou hast obeyed my voice. Right? So he's letting you know, because he's going into us, when it says that all the nations, because when we get scattered at, hey, we're going to be called by another nation, like Puerto Rican, Mexican, our people scattered in Africa, in the diaspora. They go by different names. Nobody's being called by their Hebrew name or what tribe they are. We're being called by all these different nationalities. All right. So that's what that part there's going into. So back to Genesis 26 and verse 3. It says, "Sojourn in this land, and I will be with thee, and will bless thee, for unto thee and unto thy seed I will give all these countries, and I will perform the oath which I swear unto Abraham thy father." He said, "And I will make thy seed to multiply as the stars of heaven, and will give unto thy seed all these countries, and thy seed shall all the nations of the earth be blessed." Right? Because that Abraham obeyed my voice and kept my charge, my commandments, my statutes, and my laws. Okay? Because our forefather did that. You know what I'm saying? So let's go to Sirach 44 and 19. Sirach chapter 44 and verse 19. It said, "Abraham was a great father of many people, and glory was there none like unto him, who kept the law of the Most High, and was in covenant with him. He established the covenant in his flesh," meaning the circumcision, right? "And when he was proved, he was found faithful." Okay? Verse 21, "Therefore he assured him by an oath that he would bless the nations and his seed, and that he would multiply him as the dust of the earth, and exalt his seed as the stars, and cause them to inherit from sea to sea, and from the river unto the uttermost part of the land." Okay. In verse 22, with Isaac did he establish likewise, for Abraham his father's sake, the blessing of all men and the covenant. Okay. And then, I'm going to jump to the next verse 23. And made it rest upon the head of Jacob. He acknowledged him and his blessing and gave him an heritage and divided his portions among the 12 tribes did he part them. Okay, so that's what that's going into. All right. So he's going to get that's what those nations, he's talking about Israel, okay? The Israelites. All right. Okay. Let me jump down here to where I left off at. That was verse 5. So now we're in verse 6, right? It says, and Isaac dwelt in Gerar, and the man of the place asked him of his wife, and he said, she is my sister. So the same thing, like Abraham had to do that in Egypt. Isaac had to do it amongst the Hittites and them, same people amongst the Canaanites. So he's doing it against the Philistines. Why? Because they ain't keeping no commandments, and he know they'll try to kill him for his wife, right? So read it again, verse 7. And the man of the place asked him of his wife, and he said, she is my sister, for he feared to say, she is my wife, lest said he, and the man of the place should kill me for Rebekah, because she was fair to look upon. But she was beautiful to look at, right? And it came to pass, when he had been there a long time, that Abimelech, king of the Philistines, looked out a window and saw, and behold, Isaac was sporting with Rebekah, his wife. So he over there, he having a good time playing with his wife, flirting with her, with that sporting, what a couple would do with one another. He see this, right? So verse 9, and Abimelech called Isaac and said, behold, of a surety she is thy wife. That's your wife, man. How you playing with her, how you dealing with her. Hey, that's your wife. And he said, and how saidest thou, she is my sister? And Isaac said unto him, because I said, lest I die for her. He said, hey, if I say that she my wife, your people gonna try to kill me for her. And Abimelech said, what is this that thou hast done unto us? One of the people might lightly have lied with thy wife, and thou shouldest have brought guiltiness upon us. Because everybody knew of that law, all the way from Noah, right? From Noah's 3 sons. Noah and his 3 sons, everybody knew of the law of adultery, okay? And Abimelech charged all his people, saying, he that touches this man or his wife shall surely be put to death, okay? All right, so that's what he was bringing that out. Then Isaac sowed in that land and received in this same year 100-fold, and the Lord blessed him. So the Lord was blessing him, you know what I'm saying? Why? Because he kept the commandments, and he was, he followed under that oath, right? Of his father Abraham, okay? It says, and the man waxed great and went forward and grew until he became very great. For he had possessions of flocks and possessions of herds and a great store of servants. And the Philistines envied him, right? So they envied him. They didn't like that thing. They like, man, this man prospering and stuff, man. So go to Ecclesiastes 4:4 real quick in the Bible. Ecclesiastes 4:4. I know I mentioned it earlier, but I was looking down at the wrong chapter. All right, Ecclesiastes 4:4, right? It says, and again, I consider all travail and every right work, right? So this is our forefather Solomon. He said, I seen, he taking consideration of all the good works and bad things that people do. He said, and again, I consider all travail and every right work, that for this a man is envied of his neighbor. Okay, so he's letting you know that thing there. Whatever good thing you do, you're gonna get envy for. Some people will start hating on you. Okay. It said this is also vanity and vexation of spirit. All right, so you like that. I mean, that's vanity and vexation, and it's hatred. You hate you hate to see someone do good other than yourself, right? All right, so this is Genesis 26 and verse 14. For he had possessions of flocks and possessions of herds and a great store of servants, and the Philistines envied him. For all the wells which his father's servants had digged in the days of Abraham his father. The Philistines had stopped them and filled them with earth. So they're just showing you how they was doing him in the land. They was hating on him. They try to cover up everything he prospered, and they try to they try to stop that thing. Um, try to keep it from prospering, but that thing didn't work. Verse 16, and Abimelech said unto Isaac, go from us, for thou art much mightier than we. You more richer than us. You got everything. You might as well go ahead on the leave and go to a different area. That's what he was telling them. And Isaac departed thence and pitched his tent in the valley of Gerar and dwelt there. So that's where he pitched his tent at, and that's where he dwelt at. He went back to that area of Gerar. I wish I could show y'all on the map, but I deleted that map. Verse 18, and Isaac digged again the wells of water which they had digged in the days of Abraham his father, for the Philistines had stopped them after the death of Abraham. And so once Abraham had died, then they started stopping them up. Just showing you how they envied Abraham as well. You know what I'm saying? Once he passed, they were like, we're gonna give his son, we're gonna cause his son havoc too. It said, and he called their names after the names by which his father had called them. You know what I'm saying? And Isaac's servant digged in the valley and found there a well of springing water. Right. Let me see here. Okay. Verse 20, and the herdmen of Gerar did strive with Isaac's herdmen, saying, the water is ours. So now they trying to fight over something that's not theirs. And he called the name of the well Esek, because they strove with him. So that Esek meaning strove. You know what I'm saying? That's what he gave the name of that place, because he had a fight for that thing. Verse 21, and they digged another well and strove for that also, and he called the name of it Sitnah. Sitnah means hatred. You know what I'm saying? That's what that means in Hebrew, hatred. And he removed from thence and digged another well, and for that they strove not. And he called the name of it Rehoboth. And he said, for now the Lord hath made room for us, and we shall be fruitful in this land. So that's what that Rehoboth means, room, meaning we got space, we got our own thing. You know what I'm saying? They ain't gonna mess with us. They didn't argue. They didn't try to fight us for this. In verse 23, and he went up thence from to Beersheba. So now he done went to Beersheba, to that land. I just transitioned this real quick. I'm watching the time. I'm at the cut it short, y'all. So now, if you look at the bottom, you'll see in the yellow, you see where it says Beersheba. So he's in that area right there. Okay, it's like it's kind of like on the left top side of Edom, what you will see. All right, so I'm gonna transition it back. But I tell you what, y'all, I believe that's my time right there. So it's about to be 6:30. I'm gonna just continue. When I recontinue, I'm just gonna redo chapter 26. And I know I ran out of time, but I hope y'all gained something from the lesson. Again, for those who didn't get it, it was from Isaac to Jacob. Okay, that's what the class was on. And with that, y'all, that's all I have for today. With that, we say shalom, most high in Christ bless.